Alright, so Emma's gonna do an awesome tutorial on some real basics of color separation and ink limits and things that you need to watch out for regarding those types of things. But first I'm gonna do just a couple of quick announcements and then kudos, and then we'll have Emma give us some info. So, first, just a reminder that if you are pulling briefs from FNS and that property or that newspaper has not created a new file for you that they've cleaned up, make sure that when you are placing those briefs on the page that none of the briefs have that little code at the bottom of them that shows who wrote them. I see it pop up every once in a while, like at the end of a brief it'll say in parentheses FF for Fargo Forum or GF for Grand Forks. Take those off. Those are really more for the news service, so that if there's an update to a brief or if there's a correction that needs to be made or something like that, they know which property that came from, so that they so it's more for FNS than we don't want that in print, so just cut those out if you see them. Reminder to please double check that everything that is supposed to be on your page is on your page before you send it off. We've had some stuff sneaking through. Recently I've had a few editor complaints and stuff, so just remember, just give it one more quick glance to look through those items on your budgets to make sure that you've got everything that you're supposed to on your page. And if you can't fit everything, be sure that you're talking with that editor and making sure that it's okay to leave the items off that you need to. They may want to trim something or cut a piece of art or something like that rather than just leaving items off. So last night there was a snafu with the lotteries through no fault of our team, and luckily Brandon actually caught the problem, so it didn't sneak into all of our papers. But what I did notice when I was going back and figuring out how many editors I needed to email about it this morning was that some of those lotteries were correct on the pages, and they had been sent well before Brandon saw that there was a problem. So I'm assuming that some of you are still pulling your own lotteries because they come in a little later than you'd like. In this instance, it helped because you guys got it right. So we had, there are 5 papers of our dailies that use the Lotto America, and it only was wrong in 2 of our newspapers. The other 3 were fine, and like I said, Brandon had caught that for Duluth, but the other 2 had been sent early. So, like I say, in this instance, it saved our bacon, but I could see how it could easily be the opposite, that when we pull the numbers, that if we grab the wrong numbers or something, it's gonna fall on us, that it's our error. So, I think I'd prefer that you guys be using those numbers that FNS sends. If we're having problems getting those in a timely manner, I'd really like to hear about it, because then I can pass that along to the copy desk and see if we can work something out so that we're getting those more quickly. But if it's just a matter of, if that's you guys' habit, I'd really like you to get into the habit of using the ones from FNS so that we're making sure that it's accurate. So. And then my last thing before kudos is, I asked all of you for short little biographies on, what you've done in your careers and your educations and what you guys do outside of the office. And it was super fun to learn a little bit more about you all, you know, even the folks here in the room with me, you know, there's an awful lot that I don't know about all of you. And Carol Seavey and I actually kind of hit on the idea of that it'd be really nice to know a little bit more about each other. And so I wondered if, I kind of wanted to poll you guys, and you guys could shoot me little messages and stuff later, as to whether you would be interested in sharing the information that you guys shared with me. I really didn't plan to share the info that I gathered from all of you with anyone other than our management team, because it was really just for that CLICK project, kind of getting an idea of the talents that we have that we don't know about. But there was a fair amount of pretty interesting stuff out there, and I thought it'd be kind of fun if we maybe just did like a weekly, you know, about this designer kind of thing, you know, like what your interests are outside of the office, you know, what your past work experience has been, where you went to school or where you grew up or whatever. And Carol had sent me some ideas of little sheets that they actually do in Wilmer when there are I think new hires, I'm not positive, but so I just kind of wanted to throw that at you guys. If anybody has strong feelings for or against, you know, let me know. I think I would probably send out another email asking for maybe a little bit more than I did, because I did ask you guys to keep it really short and concise for this one. But so just thought I'd give you a heads up that I'd be shooting that out and see if there's interest in sharing that kind of info, or if you guys just want to just be designing all the time and who cares about the person sitting next to you. I don't know. But you know, I thought it would be nice, especially because we have people spread out, you know, across, like, my kid's just dying. You know, we've got like, I don't know, 500 miles of span of our team, you know, and so I think it'd be kind of nice, you know, because I haven't even gotten to meet all of you yet, you know, and certainly all of our team members have not gotten the chance to meet each other, so I think it'd be kind of nice to just, you know, be able to maybe see a picture of you and, you know, like what you do both in and outside of the office. So there's that. All right, let's do some kudos quick here. Oh, and I need to screen share. All right, so we've got a page from Bob, and this is really intriguing me here. Let's see. Oh, it's a laser show and an image from the laser show. Very cool. Don't see a lot of artwork like that on a front page. Nice. This is one from Addie. I love the smoke layer on this one. A car fire. Excellent. Here is one from Amy. I'd like to this is it really is a great photo. From the Eel Pout Festival. Very nice. Like that. I believe she sent this with an email subject line of, Joe said I had to send this, or some other manager, I can't remember for sure, so. All right, this is one of Cindy Duffy's pages. Let me see if I can, oh, that's too much. It's a good photo too, fun. And it looks like in this lower one that somebody is getting an elbow to the face. just about, yeah. So, nice work, Cindy. This is one from Carly for Detroit Lakes. Bath bombs. Nice.
Is that supposed to be like shimmering gold?
Uh-huh. This one was giving, I remember this one now because it was giving us trouble because she had a lot of these as separate pieces and they were really big files, so it did not want to load into page track, so but we got it sized down and it was all good. And another Detroit Lakes, and this was Cindy Gilster's. Rhino. This photo. Alright. Here we've got one from Lauren. It's a big fish. Nice job, Lauren. That's a great page too. This one is one of Rob's. They're very glowy. No, I love how he pulled that yellow out. That's awesome. And Rob worked quite a while on this chart and all the graphic elements on this page on the fly on Tuesday. So
I was telling Erin, if I could only remember the little trick that we wanted to have an A out of the lines.
Is that where it was?
Yeah. I was
Okay.
thinking about it,
Yeah, there's some thing getting the lines to just be behind the.
There's strength for you as well. You have to like,
Yeah,
there's
it's.
some options somewhere where you can like do a rule above and nudge it up.
Okay.
And that's like.
It seems like there was some like way that he made a chart with the stripes in it.
It was
and-
seriously like 5 seconds.
Yeah, he did
It
it
was like,
super fast.
it was like a game changer. It's like,
Yeah. We should look back through it.
Yeah.
and, you know, tweet or
It'd
some
take me a
pretty
while to figure
extensive
it back out.
note, because you might have something on that.
Yeah, because there's like a highlight feature.
Is there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that would be a good one for us to share with the group. Another really great cloud or smoke photo. This one's from Sarah for the forum. I wish I didn't have that. Thing. It's covering up half the page all the time. All right. Oh, this was another forum page. Very cool. I don't know that I had noticed the headline when I think I read this story online, and so I didn't.
This one is.
It's swimming, and it's from my son's team too. This is a kid who's a swimmer and was diagnosed as being deaf at 2 weeks old, and so when he's competing, he has cochlear implants that he wears most of the time, but when he's competing, he of course can't wear the outer electronics and stuff. So from the time he comes into the swim meet, even when he's standing around on deck, he usually has an interpreter with him, and a lot of the boys have started learning some sign language so that they can communicate with him. But he lip reads quite well as well. But he's quite a good swimmer too. But
He's apparently a musician too.
he's a percussionist.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
That'd be like perfect.
yeah.
Because you can feel the vibration.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he plays, especially I see him play timpani a lot in when they're doing band concerts and stuff. So
Neat.
yeah, he's a good kid. So, and this one is Megan Dahonic for the Herald. No, Megan's been doing some Saturday shifts, so this must be, yep, it's a Sunday paper. So nice work, Megan. Nice centerpiece. This is one of Cole's for Grand Forks. Nice way to play the headline right into the sign on the building. It's great. Nice centerpiece as well with just a little bit of air on the sides. It gives it a little breathing room.
Like we did with the first graph.
Yeah, yep. How we blew up the first graph to just give it a little more emphasis. Nice work. This is one of Jackie's, and this is actually the first arts and entertainment page for the Herald. This is one that she worked on last week, so nice work, Jackie. And this one is on Tanner's, also for the Herald. That is a great photo. Very nice. Got one from Mitchell. And that's Angie's. Lots of fires in this week's roundup. That's a little disturbing, yeah. And we've got one from Brandon for Worthington. I really like that, how you got it placed just right so that the ball fell into the O of sports. Very nice. And we've got one from Gary for Wilmer. Great gymnastics photos. Very nice. Alright, I think that is it. All right, Emma, are you all ready? Oh, wait, I'm sorry, just one more second. Roberta had pulled together a few of the Olympic wins covers. We thought would be fun to see what our team did differently for different Olympics coverage here. So, this is one that, let's see, this one yours, Megan?
Yep.
Yep. This was for that special section, is that right? Let me
There
see
was
if I can,
two.
I don't know if I can.
Yeah.
I don't think I can rotate it in this program.
Can you hit
Can I? Oh.
No, that's right.
Oh.
Let's just
Oh,
look
it just
at our heads to the
refreshes.
left.
Yeah. Yes, everybody look sideways. So, Grand Forks had a pair of special sections that ran in their paper celebrating the women's hockey win because how do you say their last name?
Well, that one's Gigi,
Oh.
Marvin, or Marin, I can't remember the actual last name, and she's from War Road.
Okay.
And then the other two are the Lamoureux sisters from Grand
Lamoureux.
Forks.
Okay. I don't think we've got.
I think you
Oh,
do.
maybe we've got. No. Well,
no.
no, we've got this other one.
Yeah, the other
Of
cover I
Megan's.
did has, a Lamoureux on it.
Okay. So, this is another one from the hockey win. This was one of Cole's, also from the Lamoureux twins from the win.
Awesome.
That's an amazing photo. And we've got one from Brandon. This is a great one from the curling. That is such a good pun. Brandon, I don't know if this was your headline as well, but that is a great page, great photo, great headline. So nice work on Olympics stuff. All right, now Emma, are you ready to? Okay. You're kind of hard to hear. I don't know how we're going to be able to. Okay. know you can be,
Better now?
yes, and I know you can be louder, so.
Oh, I can.
All right, we can hear you, but we can't see you yet, or your screen yet. Oh, I think I have to click on you, I'm sorry. It's probably me. Well, I see your user, but I don't see your screen yet.
So I should be there now?
Yes, I see us,
Now
yep.
it's Megan?
Yep,
Now
yep,
it's Megan?
yes. Okay, we got it.
Okay. In the hopes to not overwhelm everyone with a ton of information today, the main point that I want to cover today is the importance of knowing what medium we're working with, which of course is newsprint. On an important note, I think it's good for everyone to be aware that our presses are a web press, meaning that the web press is a continuous roll of paper, and the paper can and tends to float while the press guys are printing. Versus, for example, a sheet-fed press where it has a lot more control because they're able to place the plates exactly where they want them. I wanted to go over, because of that, some information on the ink limit, which is, for us, is 220. I would like to show you guys what to look for while you're creating your feature pages, more specifically the color pages. Then we'll go into and I'll show you a simulation of what to expect when you're printing white text on top of color boxes. Keeping in mind that in the simulation it's not accounting for the actual bleeding that tends to happen in newsprint. And then I'll go over briefly how to check separations in your InDesign, Photoshop, and your Acrobat Pro or DC. So right off the bat, with ink limit, that number is 220. So when you are making your features pages, in this example, I guess it's about Earth Day, some people will pull the colors directly from their photo using the eyedropper tool, which is fine to do, but when you're creating your color, one way to do it is create a box off to the side, grab your eyedropper tool. I really like this dark color right back in there. So as soon as I grab that, it's going to apply that to this frame that I have off to the side. If I open up and I do a new color swatch, it's going to show you the breakdown of that color. Now, I know it's not the most awesome thing to think about, but even in design, you have to think about math. With this number, the breakdown of cyan, magenta, yellow, and black, it should never be over 220. Now, with that in mind, if I take my handy dandy calculator, this adds up to 171, which, yes, of course, is under the 220 limit. But we can clean it up a little bit. So knowing where it's at, it's going to give you a preview in this little box here. I can go in here and fudge that a little bit. Maybe get rid of, I don't quite need that much yellow. I'd like it to be a little more pink. The black, I probably could actually go without. I mean, it's only at about 10. I'm just going to get rid of it completely. And then if I hit add, it's going to change that color, and it's also going to add it to your drop down. If you go into your colors, it'll be down there at the bottom. This is a cleaner way to create a color, so you're more aware of what percentage of cyan, magenta, and yellow that you are mixing. You kind of want to avoid having a color on each plate. Having color on 2 plates, great. One, I mean, if you're using 100% cyan, magenta, or yellow, bless you, I hope it's a percentage. But 2 colors is great. Once you start getting to the 3 and the 4, you're really starting to almost set up the press for failure, I should say. If the press is having a great day, you'll be golden, but you always hope for the best. But a way for us to control more so of how that color is going to print is going to be controlling which ones you are choosing and creating in your features pages. Pinks, greens, purples, blues can be harder, so I think this is one of the easier ways to control that a little bit is using that eyedropper tool, or if you're just going in and making your own color, based on, you know, I know I want a golden color, so I know I'm gonna need just some magenta and some yellow, more yellow than magenta, high enough, gold, no black, a little more. Going with that, I know it's only on 2 plates, so I know that I'm more confident that that color is going to come out the way I intended it once it prints on the press. So, and the reason why I'm trying to make this important is, it's one thing if you have a form or a shape where you're using color, it's a whole nother thing when you start applying the color to the text. Because now, this is not a solid shape of color. Yes, this is a nice size text, it's at, you know, almost at 80 points. But one thing to keep in mind is, like I said with the press, you're overlaying 4 different colors, 3 different colors. So you need to account for the fact that the press is layering these colors and hoping that everything is going to line up correctly. So just keeping that in mind. Along with that, if it looks black on your screen, it's gonna print black in newsprint, almost for surely. So that's where this, another reason why this would come in handy is to be paying attention of how much black, not only how much black you have in it, but say for example you pull the color and it was real heavy in cyan, maybe almost 80. Let's do almost 80 there, we're done with yellow. But then, oh, maybe I want it to be about 30. I mean, you're about maxing out the color. I already know that's over 220, just by the look of it. Something like that is going to print really rich and can tend to bleed, so just being aware of that while you're doing your features pages, or I guess any color page that you're working on. Along with that, a lot of people will we all use the color boxes. Some people make them themselves. In the FCC library, of course, we have these 3 set up for you. These colors were chosen because color, especially black text, will look nice on them. I don't know if anyone's ever opened them. This is a cream color, and this only is, you know, 6% magenta, 18% yellow, and 3% black, but it's only at a 50% tint. And if you don't understand what a tint is, it's pretty much the same as transparency. A lot of people, I think, tend to do transparencies instead of tints. Transparencies, you can see through them. You probably wouldn't notice more so if you're putting it on a white page, but a good rule of thumb when picking a color is using a tint. Maybe you really like a green in your design, but making sure that tint is down to at least 20. This could actually probably go up to about 35. So that'd be a nice color green for a black text to print out over the top of. But we're still seeing a lot of white text on top of colored boxes. And the reason why I wanted to show you this is to keep it in mind, again, because we're dealing with newsprint. I'm going to zoom in really close here. This is just to simulate the overprinting, the layering that the press does when they're printing the pages. This is an example of 4 different colors, so what I did was I offset it. You can't tell the more you zoom out, but you can tell in the text. The smaller the text, the more blurrier it will appear. You know, this is, you know, a sans serif versus a serif, regular versus bold. It's just good to keep that in mind, and why we don't usually recommend you use a dark color with white text, and how large your text is compared to what colors that you're using. So I just did these simulations here to show you. Again, here's with 3 colors. Zooming out, you've seen how it could. Now again, this is what it looks like on screen, but once it prints in newsprint, you have to account for all of this to bleed. So I could even actually be quite a bit more fuzzy on printed piece of newsprint than it is on the screen. And then here's the last simulation of 2 colors, just cyan, and yellow. And you can see that there's a lot better outcome with using a lesser amount of colors. And then another thing that even help it along even more, of course, like I said, would be to dial down the tint of the color, which is under your color options, if anyone was not 100% sure of where that is located. When you create a box, apply your color, the tint option will then pop up. Currently it's at 100%, and you can dial it down to whatever you would like it to be. Okay. The next thing I wanted to show you was, I wanted to go over how to check separations in your InDesign, your Photoshop, and your Acrobat. We can go ahead and do something like this. In your InDesign, you're going to go to Window, Output, Separations Preview. Don't think you have to write any of this down because we're going to send it all out to you after the fact. When that opens up, it's going to show you the list of colors that it's going to check for. Before turning it on, I want to explain to people that it may take longer to check your separations in InDesign because when you turn the separations preview on, it's going to simulate a live high-res version of what you have on your page. So this is where it's important of what size you're saving your photos, to how many shapes you have in your InDesign file. If you're unfamiliar, InDesign is more for text, Illustrator is more for shapes. So InDesign tends to kind of bog down a little bit if you have a lot of different art, especially off of your artboard. So keeping that in mind, when you're turning this on and I click separations, it may take a minute for it to actually render that preview for you to be checking this. And while you have it open, see it's already a little slower for me. I'm going to turn my black plate on and off, which is pretty much going to already confirm that I already know I used my action or my script on the text, so I know the text is good, but maybe I didn't pick a good color in my headline. If I turn off this black, it goes. Those aren't even that large, it's taking a while. So that'll tell me that all the black is good, there's nothing on all 4 plates. The text is gone, so I know I can turn that back on. And I'll be sure to turn that back off because it takes forever to render. A quicker way I found, this is going to come in handy for, I know I've had problems with weather graphics. Sometimes it comes in wherever you get it from and the black is good and you can just place the PDF, but other weeks, same weather graphic, different day, it doesn't, the black is created on all 4 plates. So what I wanted to show you is I did not even open it up. I am sorry, hold on. A good example is, I just know from experience, is the Red Wing weather graphic. It's very inconsistent. Sometimes the black is good, I can place the PDF. Other times it is not, I have to fix it. And one way to check it right away in Photoshop is you can go to Window, Channels, and I can turn the black on and off. Now the way this PDF is set up, it's overprinting, so they have white behind it. There's nothing we can do about that in this situation with the weather. So as long as I know the black is good, it's not on all 4 plates, I can move on and get that placed on the page and get that sent out. Another way to check your separations is in your Acrobat. Now everyone might have a little bit different, you may either have the Adobe Acrobat Pro or the Acrobat DC. The DC is the most updated version of Acrobat and it looks much different than this does. I just wanted to give you, a quick once-over of what it could, let's just do this Mitchell page that I had open. On here, when you have something open, what you're gonna do is go to your tools, under print production, output preview. I already had it open, so it closed it. In that, you're gonna get a pop-up window. All the presses have been configured to the US Newsprint Snap 2007, so that's our simulation profile. We want to simulate overprinting, and then just like you did in Photoshop and in InDesign, I want to turn off this black, on and off. And the only reason why I'm checking this page is last night there was something funky about it, so we had to resend it, and I just am in a good habit of, if it's a color page, I'm checking the place before I'm approving and sending that to press, so I know that it's good. So I could turn off this black, and I see everything is disappearing except for a house ad, which it's not a customer ad, nope. I know that's good to go. In your Acrobat DC, it's going to be a different set, but ultimately it's going to be the same output preview, and this pop-up will be the same. For the most part, the different parts of how we create pages are set up already to prevent things like this happening. So when you guys are using your scripts in InDesign, when you're using your actions in Photoshop, even simply using the auto actions of converting it to black and white or converting it to CMYK already helps prevent things like this from happening. But if we are sending color pages, it's just good for us to be aware that we're using and making good color choices. Since we are a company that is actually printing newspapers, it's good to be aware that even though it looks great on your screen or on a PDF or in Olive, keep in mind that the overall goal is that we're printing a high quality printed newspaper. As you guys work on your pages, if you run into a situation where maybe you're unsure how to tone a photo for a certain newspaper, or maybe you're unsure on a color breakdown, is it going to print okay? Don't be afraid to ask a manager. One of us can look it over and give you some feedback, and we can work on that together and help you out. If anyone has more questions about this stuff, feel free to reach out to me or any one of the managers. We can surely talk your ear off about it. I know I could. But, so if you're interested in that, don't be afraid to reach out. But if anyone has any questions right now, feel free to ask. Otherwise, don't be afraid to, like I said, call me, email me, anything, and we can give you more information about this if you're interested.
Thanks, Emma. So I just wanted to reiterate that if you're using our photo actions, I don't feel like you need to be checking your color separations on your pages. But if you are creating your own colors on a page, or if you are doing your own photo toning, I know that some of you have done photo toning for years, so you're very comfortable with it. If you're doing that, I do expect that you're going to be checking those separations and making sure that those ink limits are within our ranges. I think we just need to be cautious in making sure that any colors that we're creating are ones that are going to print well. So it's a good habit to get into if you're doing some of that higher design with a lot of color. The other big thing is just making sure that when you're choosing black on a page, if you're changing something and need to switch something to black, make sure it's the black and not the registration when you're going into your drop down. Also, if you want to reverse out white type out of black, make absolutely sure that it is a pure K black but it's not breaking down into the 4 different plates, because there's no way any of our presses are going to hit that, especially for normal body copy size. It's just, 4 plates lining up to hit black is never gonna work, so, make sure that you're using a solid 1 plate black if you wanna reverse type out, so, and remember to bump up your size of your text some too, so, again, thank you, Emma, for giving us a little bit deeper insight into some of that, those separations and ink limits. It's something that I did not learn in my, newspaper experience. Like I told Emma, you know, I think those of us who were brought up through journalistic design, it's not something that most of us really had to worry about. You know, somebody else was toning our photos, we would just put them on the page and make sure it all, looks okay, and we're in a different era now, so we need to be aware of some of these other things. And those of you who came up through more of the graphics and creative design, this is probably all absolutely second nature to you. So for those of us who aren't as comfortable with it, I think we'll be leaning on some of you who have that experience a little more heavily to make sure that we're doing things right. So, all right, well, we've had a 45-minute meeting already, so I want to get you guys all back to work. So thank you for joining. Be sure to reach out to Emma if you've got questions, and she's going to send out some of that info that she put together today. So thank you all. Oh my God, did that thing not? Okay, I was like,